You know that moment when you wake up to a noise so bizarre it yanks you straight out of a dream? That was me, 6 a.m., yanked awake by this god-awful honking like a goose stuck in a car horn, blaring from my backyard. I stumbled out of bed, threw open the window, and there it was, a neon green golf cart, lights flashing like it was auditioning for a bad action flick, parked smack in the middle of my shed, right through the double doors I'd spent last summer reinforcing. This wasn't just any shed, it was my sanctuary, my workshop, where I, Jake Harper, a small-town woodworker in Willow Creek, Tennessee, turned old oak into furniture and fixed up vintage tools for folks who still value craftsmanship. That cart? It belonged to Linda Grayson, the self-appointed queen of our neighborhood's HOA, a woman who'd been gunning for me ever since I bought this plot to escape her beige-tinted tyranny. I pulled on my boots, still in my flannel pajamas, and marched outside, half expecting to find a raccoon joyriding her cart after a late-night bender. Instead, there was Linda, standing at the edge of my property line, arms crossed, smirking like she'd just checkmated me in a game I didn't know I was playing. "Looks better already, doesn't it?" she called out, nodding at her cart like it was a piece of modern art. "That shed of yours was an eyesore. Consider this a community upgrade." I blinked, trying to process the audacity. Her cart had smashed through my door, knocked over a stack of reclaimed barnwood I'd been saving for a client's dining table, and scared off half the wildlife in a 3-mile radius. And she was proud of it. Right then, I knew two things. Linda had done this on purpose, and she was about to learn what happens when you mess with a guy who's got a welder, a grudge, and a knack for thinking outside the box. Let's back up. I moved to Willow Creek 3 years ago to get away from city noise and HOA nonsense. My property's just outside their jurisdiction, literally 1 foot beyond their reach, a fact that drives Linda nuts. She's the kind who'd measure your grass blades and send you a fine if they're half an inch too long. A week before the cart incident, she'd shown up uninvited while I was clearing brush, waving a clipboard like it was a royal scepter. "Jake, you really ought to join the HOA," she'd said, handing me a flyer full of rules about approved mailbox colors and cohesive flower beds. I told her, politely as I could while holding a chainsaw, that I wasn't interested. Her smile didn't budge. "We'll see about that," she said, like she was plotting to annex my land into her suburban empire. I thought she was just talking till that cart crashed into my life, carrying her obsession with control right into my workshop. At first, I tried playing nice. I snapped photos of the cart, texted Linda to move it within the hour, or I'd call the sheriff. She actually laughed and said, "It's not trespassing if it's a shared aesthetic asset." Shared? I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure parking your golf cart in someone's shed isn't in the community handbook. She even pulled out some grainy, laminated map from the 80s, claiming my shed was built on land that once belonged to an HOA member, so it was historically communal. I stared at her, wondering if she'd been sniffing her highlighter pens. By noon, the cart was still there, and Linda had emailed the HOA board, accusing me of detaining her vehicle and ruining its battery with my shed's subpar ventilation. I kid you not, that's what she wrote. My neighbor, Tom, a retired mechanic who'd been dodging Linda's fines for years, forwarded me the email with a single line: "She's lost it, man." That's when the rage kicked, and not the yelling kind, but the kind that sharpens your focus, makes you want to outsmart someone at their own game. Linda wanted to treat my shed like her personal parking lot? Fine. I'd treat her cart like the centerpiece of a project she'd never forget. I didn't want a lawsuit or a shouting match. I wanted something better, something that'd make her regret ever crossing my fence line. And then it hit me, inspired by her snarky comment when I zip-tied a warning to her cart's steering wheel. "What are you gonna do, Jake? Turn it into a pigsty?" Not pigs, Linda. Chickens. Glorious, clucking, internet-famous chickens. I spent that afternoon sketching a plan out for a fight, but for the most ridiculous, over-the-top chicken coop ever built inside a golf cart. I called my cousin, Ethan, who owed me after borrowing my truck and returning it with a dented fender. We hit up a poultry auction in the next county, where I met Daisy, a Rhode Island red with a limp and an attitude like she'd stared down hawks and won. I bought her 7 other hens and a rooster named Hank who crowed like he was auditioning for a rock band. Back at the shed, we got to work. We rolled the cart into a corner, built a ramp to the front seat, turned the golf bag holder into nesting boxes, and stuffed the glove compartment with straw. I even rigged up motion sensor cameras and a solar-powered fan, because if I was doing this, I was doing it right. By sundown, the cart was a 5-star poultry palace, and I'd set up a live stream called Linda's Coop Cart Cam, complete with lo-fi music and a donation link. I wasn't just building a coop, I was building a spectacle. Linda came by the next day, her little terrier yapping like it was paid to annoy me. She saw the chickens, saw Daisy pecking corn off the dashboard, and her face went from smug to sour. "You're desecrating my property," she hissed. I wiped sawdust off my hands and grinned. "Nah, Linda, I'm enhancing it." She stormed off, muttering about lawsuits, but the internet was already hooked. Within 3 days, the stream had 15,000 followers. People sent name tags for the chickens: Daisy, Betsy Ross, Feather Locklear, you name it. A guy in Ohio mailed a tiny disco ball to hang in the shed. The donations paid for better feed, more cameras, even chicken sunglasses, which Daisy wore like she was born for the spotlight. Linda's cart wasn't just a coop, it was a movement. She didn't take it lying down. Oh no, Linda escalated like her life depended on it. First, she hired some kid in a fake animal control uniform, her nephew. I'm guessing you showed up with a butterfly net and a toy dart gun, claiming he was confiscating illegal poultry. He accidentally shot Linda in the shin with a foam dart, and she screamed so loud the chickens started a riot. The sheriff, my old buddy Dan, showed up, took one look at the kid's peeling Metro Animal Control van, and asked, "Linda, you impersonating officials again?" She tried to argue, but Dan just handed her a warning and left, chuckling. Then she installed floodlights in her yard, blasting my shed like it was a prison break. I fought back with mirrors from the salvage yard, bouncing her lights right into her bedroom. The stream's viewers ate it up, donating enough for a sunblock mode feature with dramatic music whenever the mirrors kicked in. Things got wilder. Linda threw pink paint at my shed, slipped in the mess, and got dive-bombed by Betsy Ross, who perched on her like a feathered conqueror. I caught it all on camera, uploaded it as Linda's paint job flop, and it hit 1 million views overnight. She tried sneaking in at midnight to tow the cart, but my new tripwire system blasted Hanks crowing through a loudspeaker, sending her sliding into a pile of feed bags. Every move she made just dug her deeper, and the internet turned her into a meme. HOA Karen versus Chicken Army. But Linda wasn't done. She sent a fake legal letter claiming I'd stolen her cart, and when that flopped, she crashed a community egg giveaway I'd thrown to thank my neighbors. A news crew was there, filming Daisy laying an egg in a flower pot Linda had left too close to my shed. Linda stormed in, screaming about theft, only to slip on hay and get chased by Daisy, wings flapping like a feathered fury, all on live TV. The sheriff showed up again, and this time, Linda's proof of ownership of faded receipt did hold up. Dan looked at my stack of reports, videos, and warnings and cuffed her for trespassing. As she was led away, yelling, "This isn't over," Daisy flapped triumphantly, and the crowd cheered. A week later, the county declared the cart abandoned, legally mine. I framed a letter next to a photo of Daisy in her sunglasses, ruling the coop like a queen. Linda's house went up for sale a month later. She was gone, her floodlights dimmed, her HOA dreams crushed. My shed's still open for visitors, the stream's bigger than ever, and Daisy's got her throne on the cart's dashboard. I didn't just weenie turned Linda's power trip into a legend, a story about what happens when you underestimate a guy with a shed, a plan, and a flock of chickens who cluck louder than your ego. Looking back, I'm almost grateful for her cart crashing into my life. It gave me a story, a community, and a rooster who wakes me up better than any alarm. But I keep the cameras on, just in case someone else thinks they can park in my shed and get away with it. So what do you think? Was I petty, or was this justice? Ever had an HOA nightmare, or a neighbor who pushed you too far? Drop a comment, share your story. I am reading every one, and trust me, Daisy's listening too.